you've just presented it's known as a 10-minute rule bill. It's a private MP's attempt to change the law. The Education Secretary, Nadeem Zahawi, has obviously said keeping schools open is his priority, but he hasn't backed your bill, has he?
Well, I was really pleased that Nadeem Zahawi attended today. He sat on the front bench alongside the schools minister whilst I was presenting the bill. I've literally just come downstairs from having just done it in the House of Commons. But we need to put this into context. The last 18 months was a national disaster for our children. You had the four horsemen of the education apocalypse galloping towards young people in terms of mental health, educational attainment, safeguarding hazards and lifetime chances. And what I wanted to do with the bill, by the way, supported by the current Children's Commissioner and the former Children's Commissioner, two former Children's Ministers, the respected parents group Us For Them, who've helped me on the bill. What the bill says, doesn't just say that MPs should have a vote in Parliament and it should be decoupled from general lockdown measures. It also says that the Children's Commissioner has a veto. The Children's Commissioner should decide whether or not schools in the main should stay open. And if she says yes, they should close, and then Parliament votes for it, the triple lock is that Parliament then returns every 3 weeks to vote on whether or not the school should continue to be shut. But what I want to be sure of is that we never again close our schools, for the most part, except they were partially open, because of the damage it's done. And by having the Children's Commissioner make that decision, what it means is she won't just consider COVID, which we know, thank goodness, is low risk to children, but she'll also consider the effects on children's educational attainment and mental well-being.
Robert, you're a very principled MP. I think it's fair to say you've also got a really acute nose, in my experience, for public opinion. But I'd say public opinion on this is split. Yes, there are some parents who are really angry about school closures. There are other parents, indeed, we talked to one just earlier in the show here on De Pierre and Halligan, who accepts that if head teachers and teachers feel a school should close for their own safety and children's and families' safety, then it should.
Well, when I first campaigned against school closures, it was when the government closed them in the first lockdown. And you're right that many parents at the time supported the closures, and I had a lot of criticism. But that changed over the year because parents could see the damage that school closures were doing.
You're back. Sorry, we thought we'd lost you, but you're back. Please continue.
Yeah. So I had a mother who approached me in my constituency of Harlow, who said that her daughter, because she'd been stuck at home, had been perfectly healthy, had developed a compulsive disorder of constantly washing her hands until they bled. The damage to children, as I described a moment ago, has been enormous. And I think for the most part, parents understand the need for children to be in school, especially as they know that children are at very low risk, thank goodness, from not just catching COVID, but from being ill from it.
I guess the government would say they didn't want schools to close. It wasn't a policy decision. It was born out of absolute necessity. They would never want to close schools again unless it's an absolute necessity. Is that fair to the government?
Well, I understand why the government made the decisions, but other countries around Europe didn't close the schools in the way we did. We have amongst the most lost learning of many other countries in Europe. So children lost 58% of their learning on average in classrooms, whereas if you take a country like Belgium, they lost 4% of their learning. And France kept the schools open for the most part. So if other countries can do it, we can do it. I've always said I was not a lockdown skeptic, but I was a school down skeptic, and we should have been able to vote on school closures with the authority of the Children's Commissioner.